Hi guys, it's Mrs. Tucker again. All right, you asked for it, so here it is. A video review to go along with your written review for the third 9 weeks common assessment. All right, so the best way to study for this common assessment is for you to do the entire review yourself first. Double check with the answer bank as you're going along. At the very end is an answer bank. See if you're getting those answers, and then come back and watch the review for the individual questions, especially those that you might not have really understood, okay? My goal is to go through all 20 questions in under 15 minutes, so this is going to go fast. You may need to pause this as we're going along, all right? Let's get started. Question number 1. Jake is hanging a bird feeder in a tree in his backyard. He leans on a 14-foot ladder against a tree as shown. The distance between the tree and the bottom of the ladder is 5 feet. How high above the ground is the top of the ladder? A ladder leaning against anything is a clue word that you're forming a right triangle, and anytime you have a right triangle, Pythagorean theorem applies. So we've got a squared plus b squared equals c squared. The most important side to label correctly is which one? Is it A, B, or C? That's right, it's C. C is always the longest side. It's the side opposite that 90-degree right angle. So you need to know what your C is. Okay, so I'm going to plug in what I know. And to get A, which is this distance here up the tree, I'm going to take C squared and subtract B squared. Plug in my numbers. 14 squared minus 5 squared is 196, subtract 25. So some number times itself is 171. To get that number, you take the square root of 171, which is real close to 13 feet. We know that the square root of 169 is 13, so it's about 13 feet. Question number 2. The probability of selecting a blue tile from the first bag is 1/8. The probability of selecting a blue tile from the second bag is 1/5. If one tile is selected from each bag, what is the probability of selecting a blue tile, that should be tile, from the first bag, and then selecting a blue tile, selecting a tile other than blue from the second bag? Okay, I gave this question to you guys as a quiz, and a bunch of you guys missed it because you didn't really read very good. You didn't read the part that said you were selecting a tile other than blue from the second bag. So here's a little diagram. Here's 1 out of 8 tiles in the first bag that are blue. Here's 1 out of 5 tiles in the second bag that are blue. They want the probability of drawing a blue tile from the first bag, which is 1/8, and a tile other than blue. How many in the second bag are other than blue? Yeah, there's 4 that are other than blue. That's why you're going to take 1/8 times 4/5, multiply those together and reduce. Other than blue. You guys got to read these questions. Number 3, Ronaldo cut an 8-inch by 10-inch paper diagonally. Ooh, there's a clue word. How long is the diagonal? Round to the nearest whole number if necessary. Anytime you see the word diagonal in reference to a square or rectangle, you just cut it into 2 right triangles, so we're going to use Pythagorean theorem. The diagonal is your longest side, that's C. Here's your right angle. Let's plug in the numbers we do know and solve for C. 8 squared plus 10 squared, that's going to give you C squared. 64 plus 100 is 164. How do you unsquare a number that's been squared? Yeah, with the square root. So it gives you about 12.8, but it says round to the nearest whole number, so that would be 13 inches. Number 4, Sam has a bag containing 8 red, 4 blue, 10 green, 6 yellow, and 2 white marbles that are all the same size and same shape. What is the probability of randomly choosing a green marble on the first pick, not replacing it? Oh, super important. And then randomly choosing a green marble on the second pick. Okay, you got to add them all up first. When you add up all the marbles, you've got 30 marbles in the bag. On the first pick, you're choosing a green marble. How many of the 30 are green? Right here? Yep, that's 10. 10 out of 30 are green. The reason you would not replace the marble is because you did grab a green marble. Now how many total marbles are in the bag? Yeah, now we have 29. How many of those are green for the second pick? Yeah, I've already pulled out a green one, so there's only 10 or 9 left out of the 10. Now multiply the two together and you have your probability of both of those things happening at the same time. I'm going to reduce tops times tops, bottoms times bottoms, and I see I can reduce again right here. My final answer is 3/29. Number 5, a cylindrical grain silo is 60 feet tall and has a radius of 20 feet. What's the approximate volume of the grain silo? Use 3 for pi. Name the shape. Okay, now I need a volume formula. Go look for volume formula. Yeah, on the formula chart it says V equals capital B times H, where this is the area of the base. The base is a circle, so it's pi radius squared. Plug in what you know and solve for what you don't. All right, number 6, Mark is going to build his dog a bed. The bed will be made in the shape of a rectangular prism. The inside surfaces will be lined with carpet. What is the total surface area of the interior sides and the bottom of the box to be carpeted? This is a surface area problem of a rectangular prism, and if you look on your formula chart, you get this formula. But we need to modify this formula. Why? Hint is right there. That says 2 areas of the base, and we don't have a top. So we need to take that out and just make it one base. We're going to align the 4 sides and the base. Okay, so capital P is your perimeter of your base. That's 20 plus 30 plus 20 plus 30, which is 100. H is the height of that box, which is 10 inches. Capital B represents what? That's the area of your base, which is 20 by 30. So we have an area of the base of 600. Plug those numbers into your formula, and you do the math. And is the answer in the answer bank? Yes, it is. Okay, my computer's being slow. Okay, number 7. A spinner was spun 32 times. The results are shown in the table below. Which color on the spinner has the same experimental probability as theoretical probability? Well, theoretical probability is based on theory. How many times should the spinner land on red? How many times on blue? How many times on yellow? How many times on white? Each one of these has 1/4 of a chance of it happening, or a 25% chance. So now, based on the experiment, which one of these showed up 1/4 of the time? Well, they said we spun it 32 times, so 6 out of 32 is 3/16. That's not 1/4. 8 out of 32 is a fourth. 12 out of 32 is 3/8. Which one had an experimental probability that's the same as the theoretical probability? Yeah, that was blue. Number 8, a t-shirt shop keeps records of how many shirts they sell. The most popular shirt colors for 1 week are shown in the table. What's the probability that the next shirt purchased will be purple? What do you guys think the first thing is we need to do right here? Yeah, let's add those up and see how many shirts we sold in that week. We sold 100 shirts. What's the probability that the next shirt purchased will be purple? What are you going to do next? Yeah, it's 14 out of 100. It's either 14% or 7/50. That's experimental probability. What is the surface area of the pizza box that can be formed from the net shown below? They're asking for total surface area. I want the surface area of that square plus that square. That's not your bell. Plus that rectangle, plus that rectangle, plus that rectangle, plus that rectangle. Add them all up. You have your total surface area. Okay, so the area of those 2 squares, the 12 by 12 squares, are each 144. So when you add those up, you get 288. Now I want to find the area of the rectangles. This is 2 by 12. This one's 2 by 12 because that's 12 across there. This is 2 by 12. That's 12 across there. And this is 2 by 12. So I have 4 small rectangles that are all 24 square inches. So 4 times 24 is 96. How do you find the total surface area of the whole thing? Add up the pieces. Yeah, there you go. And double check and make sure that's in the answer bank. Number 10, 6 women are all due to have babies in June. What's the chance of having, if the chances of having a boy or a girl are equal and these events are independent of one another, what's the probability that all 6 women will have boys? What's the probability of the first woman having a boy? Probability of the first woman having a boy is 1/2. What's the probability of the second woman? Yeah, once again 1/2. What about the third one? No, not 1/3. 1/2. Probability of all of the rest? Yeah, they're all the same. What's the probability of all 6 women having boys? Multiply those all together. That did say 6 women, didn't it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There we go. Now what's the answer? All right, number 11, Rachel drew a floor plan for her new kitchen. What's the area of the kitchen floor? Okay, this is a composite area question. And I think what I'm going to do, you can either bust this up into 3 little rectangles, find the area of each 3 and add them all up. But I think what I'm going to do is calculate the area of the big rectangle I've highlighted in yellow and then subtract out this little piece right here. So the area of the big rectangle is 10 times 12. The area of the small is 4 times 5. Take that area and subtract the smaller area, and you'll have the area of your kitchen floor. All right, a spinner is equally divided between red, blue, and yellow sections. The results of spinning the spinner are shown. Which color shows an experimental probability that is equal to its theoretical probability? Okay, red came up 7 times, blue came up 5 times, yellow came up 3 times. What do you think we need to do first? Yeah, let's add them up and see how many times the spinner was spun. That was 15 times. If the spinner is equally divided between red, blue, and yellow, in theory, each one of those colors should come up what percentage of the time? Yeah, 1/3 of the time. So we want to know which color has an experimental probability that is equal to the theoretical. Which one of these comes up 1/3 of the time? Well, out of 15 spins, red came up 7, blue came up 5, and yellow came up 3. Which one of those is equal to 1/3? Reduce them and then you'll have your answer. 13, Bob's ag class built a square pyramid out of plywood. They plan to paint the outside of the pyramid, including the bottom. The pyramid has the dimensions shown. What is the total surface area of the pyramid? All right, first of all, name the shape. It's a rectangular pyramid. I'm going to go to my formula chart and find a formula. You can calculate the area of all 4 rectangles added up and then add the area of the base, or you can use the formula, which says perimeter of the base times your slant height divided by 2 plus the area of the base. Well, the perimeter of the base is 10 plus 10 plus 10 plus 10, or 40. Your slant height is given, that's 12. Now we've got to calculate the area of the base. The base is a square. It's 10 by 10, so it's 100. Pop those numbers into your formula, your P, your L, and your B, and you get what for your surface area? Okay, looks like I'm not going to make my goal of making this video in under 15 minutes. It's going to go a little bit over. So, I'll finish this up in a minute. Question 14, a mini basketball has a radius of 3 inches. What's the volume of the basketball? Use 3.14 for pi. First, name the shape. Yep, it's a sphere. Find me a formula. We are calculating volume. Your volume formula is this. Don't forget, radius cubed does not mean radius times 3. It's radius times radius times radius. Plug in your radius and do the math. Tell me what you get. All right, next question. Two joggers run 8 miles north and then 5 miles west. What is the shortest distance to the nearest tenth of a mile that they must travel to return to their starting point? Wish they would have drawn a picture here to clarify. They went 8 miles north, they went 5 miles west. They're going to follow that pink path to get home. They just created a right triangle. So we're going to use what? Yes, Pythagorean theorem. All right, I need to find my C. C is the most important side to label correctly. That's the long side, or the pink side. So we'll plug in the numbers that we know. 5 squared plus 8 squared equals C squared. 25 plus 64 equals C squared. 89 equals C squared. I wish they'd asked me for 81, because the square root of 81 is 9. I know it's a little bit bigger than 9. The answer is a little over 9. The actual answer is 9.4 miles. Is that in the answer bank? Okay. Next question, number 16. Gina's party supplies need to fill square pyramids with sand for the Egypt party. Okay, that was a weird sentence. How much sand will they need for each pyramid? We are filling it up, so we are talking volume. Name the shape. Rectangular pyramid. Get me a volume formula. It says capital B times H divided by 3. B is the area of the base. To get the area of the base on a rectangle, that's length times width. So we just need to do length times width times height. Get me an answer. Okay, I got the answer. Did you? All right. Number 17. Find the length of X. Guys, I feel certain a question like this will show up on your STAR test. You have got to understand these Pythagorean models. Okay, Pythagorean theorem says the area of the small one plus the area of the medium one adds up to the area of the big square. The two smaller areas adds up to the area of the big square. Look at what they gave you. Here is a side length of 5. This is not a side length. That's an area. They've already taken your side C and squared it for you. C squared actually equals the 144. So plug that in for your C squared. Do not take 44 and square it. It's already been squared for you. So C squared is 44. I need to know the area of A squared and the area of B squared. So A squared plus this side length of 5 squared gives us 44. So A squared plus 25 is 44. A squared then has to be 44 subtract 25, which is 19. How do you find A squared? Yeah, you take the square root of 19. Side length X is about 4.4 centimeters. You have got to understand these models. All right, here's the next problem. 18, a paper drinking cup is shaped like a cone with a diameter of 10 centimeters and a height of 11 centimeters. How many cubic centimeters of water does the cup hold? We're talking a cone. I need a formula for volume since it's going to hold stuff. We need to find the volume of a cone. Here's your base formula. Your area of your base on a cone is a circle, so it's pi radius squared. If your diameter equals 10 inches or 10 centimeters, then your radius is 5. They told us our height is 11. Plug those in and use 3.14 for pi. Let's see what you get. Did you get an answer? Is it in the answer bank? Mine is. Number 19. Oscar's doghouse is shaped like a tent. The slanted sides are both 5 feet, and the bottom of the house is 6 feet across. 5 feet, 5 feet, 6 feet. What is the height of the doghouse in feet at its tallest point? They're talking this line right here. How tall is that? Well, doesn't one half of this area right here, doesn't that make a right triangle? All right, guess what we're going to use? Yeah, let's use some Pythagorean theorem. My longest side is C, so I know A squared plus B squared equals C squared. This side here, we'll call it A. plus b squared, the 3 feet, equals the 5 feet squared. So to find a squared, that's the difference between 5 squared and 3 squared. Or 25 subtract 9, which is 16. Some number times itself gives you 16. How do you unsquare a number that's been squared? Yeah, with the square root. So I know this side length here is 4 feet. Now on to part 2. Part 2 says, Oscar's owner wants to paint the outside of his doghouse with a protective coating. His doghouse is 7 feet long. It looks something like that. It looks like a little tent. He will not need to paint the front or the back triangles. How much protective coating is needed for the other 3 faces? Well, the other 3 faces are what shape? Yeah, they're all 3 rectangles. Two of them have base lengths of 5 and one has a base length of 6. Find the area of all 3 of those and add them up. 35 plus 35 plus 42 gives you what? That'll get you your final answer, and I believe we are done. Good luck tomorrow on the exam.